Hey, you guys, it's your girl Sherry. We are back again for another episode on Grieve Grow Glow. So today, before we get into the message, as always, please like the video, share the video. And if you are not part of my community yet, subscribe, right? We are very transparent over here. We're friendly, we're loving, and we just want to bond with you, right? We want to help you heal in this season of your life. So today, we're just going to have a very transparent, vulnerable conversation. I have taken some notes, so please bear with me. I may be looking over at my computer over here, but there's some things that I had jotted down that I really wanted to get off my chest. I didn't want to forget, right? Because I feel like they're very important. And sometimes I come on here and you just start rambling. And then when you get off, you're like, oh, I forgot to say that. But this is a topic that we can't forget anything, right? So over the past few weeks, right, I have been having discussions with some close friends. I have been talking with God. I have been talking with my therapist because it's an area of my life that I am still struggling in. I'm working towards finally getting to healing, true healing, I should say, right? And so today's topic, we are really going to be talking about forgiveness. So this episode is for not only women or men that are dealing with grief, but it's more so dealing with disappointments from people that you thought really had your back, really, from people that you thought truly cared about you, didn't show up for you when you really needed them the most, right? And this isn't a bashing session of anything. This is something that I feel like needs to be talked about more, be more transparent about. And in your transparency, you're really healing, right? Because you're bringing it to the forefront instead of keeping it buried deep down. You can have conversations about it all the time, but you really don't get to the root, right, of the issue. So today we're going to dive deep, and I'm going to talk about my own experience because that's all I can talk about, right? I can't talk about other people's experience, but I have lived with this for a while. I've had so many disappointments in my life, right? And I'm at a point where I'm not harboring over it, right? Because you could forgive people, but that doesn't mean that you have to allow them back in your space. Doesn't mean that you want harm to come to them, because never want that, right? Pray over my, people that have did me wrong, because that's what you're supposed to do. That's what God has told me to do. You still pray over them and don't want any ill will to come to them. But forgiveness, the way I see it, is releasing it. It's for your heart, right? But boundaries is for your peace. And that's what I have been doing over the last, I would say, probably the last 15 years, is just really protecting my peace. So I hear all the time that forgiveness is for you, right? You truly need to forgive someone that has wronged you. You shouldn't be bitter towards anyone. And for me, I can't say that it's bitterness that I have, right? I feel like, in my experience of being disappointed, betrayed, I feel like, I guess the question goes deeper, right? In my mind, it's like, how could they do this? Especially when you show up, you pour love into people, you just want to love on people, and then the people that you love on the most and respect betray you, right? Or don't show up the way that you thought they should show up for you. I feel like just because you still have some lingering feelings, it doesn't mean that you're harboring bitterness. I feel like, and this is for me, sometimes I kind of pack it down. It's like out of sight, out of mind. You don't want to think about it. You don't want to relive it, right? But then if you happen to see the person, or, they're calling your phone, for me, it triggers the emotion. It triggers the incident that happened, right? It keeps bringing it back to the forefront. And I think that's where I'm at in my therapy, is to find a way to not allow that event to trigger me, right? And so one of the things that I was reading about, right, is to just trying to get my words together because this is a heavy topic. I think what I'm trying to say is that it's not that you're feeling bitter, right? You're in the healing process, but sometimes those wounds or things that have hurt you, they're not surface level. They run deeper, right? And sometimes if you had no closure, if the person didn't take accountability for their actions, those are some of the things that you could still be harboring, right? Or haven't moved past because you feel like, take accountability for the way you made me feel. Don't dismiss that it didn't happen. I think that's the biggest thing for me. Don't make me feel like I'm crazy, like I'm just making up stuff. And even though they may come and take accountability, that doesn't mean that everything's going to be peachy keen, right? We're going to be best friends we're going to get back to the way we were. That's not what I'm looking for at all, right? Because there's a reason why we're at this state, right? And so we can move past it, but that doesn't mean that I have to allow you back into my life. You've already proven to me how you are, right? And people change. People can change. I'm not saying they can't. I feel like, when people show you who they are, you got to believe them. And the way to not get in that situation again is to set boundaries, right? So I've spoken to a few people that are kind of dealing with the same thing that I struggle with forgiveness. And I felt like this was a topic that we needed to talk about on the channel today because it is a form of grief. It has come up over the last few weeks, right? In my inner circle, coworkers, looking at YouTube, different people that are going through church hurt. And ironically, it came up today in church. And I sat in it for a minute, right? And I just was just like, God, I know you're tapping on my shoulder, right? But I felt like he was saying, you asked me for something to really go deep with today. And I feel like he answered it because this is something that I don't like to talk about. Even in therapy, it's like we get down to the people that have hurt me, the trauma that I carry that's real, that runs deep. And I always run away from the conversation. I'm just going to be completely honest because it's too painful to even talk about. Who wants to talk about the pain they feel? Because it's not surface, it runs deep. And people don't really know the things that I've endured over the 50 years, right? From a whole bunch of different people. And I protect that side of me, but it has really built a wall around me as far as letting people in. And I've gotten better, I would say, over the last 5 years. I have been working on that to allow myself to grow, because you can't grow staying stuck in the same place, right? And I have seen myself evolve over the last 5 years, mentally, physically. And this is just one of the areas that I'm still growing in, right? And I'm tackling the issues day by day. As my coach says, baby steps. Baby steps. And so this is a huge step for me to be discussing it on my channel, right? But I have to be vulnerable with you guys to allow you to see that I've been through a lot of stuff too. And I'm willing to share because everything we go through is not for us. It's for someone else, right? And God has been telling me, it's like, this is something that you got to really dive deep in because there's someone out there that is dealing with the same thing. And I know a few people that's close to me that is dealing with this. So I knew I needed to come and really talk about this today, right? We're not going to get into a really, really deep discussion on it because there's so many facets to forgiveness, unforgiveness. But what I will say is, for me, I'm holding myself accountable. I'm doing the work. I'm open to doing the work with my therapist to get me to a place where I don't have triggers, right? This has been a huge part this has been huge for me that I've been dealing with for a very, very long time. And it's not going to go away overnight, right? Because I've been not avoiding it. I haven't been avoiding it. That's why I have a therapist, right? I've had a therapist. I'm going on 3 years. But as I stated earlier, when we really go deep, I kind of skim away from it. I'm very good at kind of turning the channel, not really manipulating, but I know when I really don't want to talk about something and it's very uncomfortable, I find a way to redirect. And in this season that I'm learning through my coach is you have to work on becoming the person that you want to be, right? And that means in all aspects of your life. You have to make those changes, baby steps, a day at a time, things in your area that doesn't align with the journey that where you're going. You have to get rid of those things that doesn't align with where you're going. And for me, I don't want to carry the triggers with me, right? I can't say that I haven't forgiven because I've forgiven everybody. But just because I still have the triggers, it doesn't mean that I don't forgive them. It just means that there's still more healing to be done. And I'm taking that accountability because it's been in my spirit for a while, not just today, but over the last few weeks. It's been heavy. It's been very heavy. And going into my coaching with, growing my brand, it all aligns. It's all coming back full circle, right? When she talks about every part of your life, you have to dissect. You have to get rid of things that is not going in the direction that you're going in. And that even means friendships, the way you dress, the way you look, the things that you're doing on social media, like all the things take place in becoming the new version of you. And I know that for me, that part of my life is kind of keeping me stagnant. And so I am going to work towards not allowing the triggers to really hold me hostage anymore. I got this saying, right? It says, if you're working towards peace, setting boundaries, and being honest with your emotions, you're doing the work. This is forgiveness in progress, right? That is a powerful, powerful statement when I seen that. And I'm like, yes, I had to write it down because I knew I wasn't going to remember it. I have so many things in my head that I'm working on. It's like, I have to start writing it down. And journaling has really been a lifesaver for me. I have never been one to write stuff down, journal. And now I see why people say to journal. It's therapeutic in a way. I've been doing it since January. Been very consistent. I'm 9 months in. And I'm like, how did I live my life over the last 50 years without journaling? And it's not about just journaling my emotions. I journal about the thoughts that I have towards where I see my business going, the new TikToks that I want to do, where I want to be, how I want to move in the next season, as far as, do I want us to stay in Virginia? Do I want to move somewhere else? Like, all the things, it's like, was in my head. I don't know how I was able to operate all these years, but now putting it down on paper, I feel like I'm building my blueprint. I'm building and dissecting and orchestrating how I want to become a better Sherry. And coaching it has been very helpful to me, and it's the best thing that I started back doing. And there's some other things that I need to get on board. But yeah, this podcast is very therapeutic for me. So even though I come on every week and I am talking about things to be helpful to you guys, it's really helping myself in the process. You just don't know. It's really helping me. So I hope that you guys really sit on the things that I discussed today. If anyone is in the same space that I'm in, as far as having triggers, and needing to be healed, my advice would be, one, journal down your emotions, get it out, because I feel like when it's in, you're stuck. Get it out on paper. If you don't have a therapist, definitely get a therapist, and just take baby steps towards just becoming a better version of yourself. All right. So again, you guys, please like the video if this is something that you really enjoy. Share the video to someone that may be dealing with unforgiveness or bitterness or any of those emotions. Share it with them and subscribe, right? I'd love to have you in my community. I'd love to have any questions that you guys may have, any topics that you want me to discuss, or anything in what I shared today that you want me to elaborate on. I have no problem doing that. So you could put it down below in the comments, okay? And I appreciate you guys just watching my videos, coming on every day. Every time I come onto YouTube and just seeing the comments, it really blesses me, right? Because I see the channels growing. I see that the content is needed. Even if it just touches one person, that just warms my heart, because I'm helping somebody. And that's the goal, to help someone, because dealing with this type of trauma, because that's what it is, it's trauma, dealing with it alone without anyone to voice your concerns, your hurt, or anything, too, just keeping it inside just prolongs the journey. And the journey is to get from grieving to glowing, right? That's the journey. And so we are going to work this thing out. I'm here for you, okay? So you guys have a blessed rest of your day. Go out and do some type of self-care today, right? I took myself to breakfast today. I had my headphones on and I was just in my journal. And here's my journal right here, right? In my journal, and I got so much work done. You don't realize how much time is wasted when you're home. And I'm trying to plan for my episodes or plan for my TikTok, anything. If I'm in front of that TV, time gets away. I'm putting so much effort in there. And so that's one of the lanes that I am restructuring for my new plan, is to get away from social media, being on there every single day, all hours of the day, right? I'm going to start allotting time to be in there and on Facebook, on TikTok, or whatever. I have to start making a plan, making a schedule, because just leaving church, going to have breakfast, had my headphones on, and just writing out things I wanted to do. I got so much work done. Even to where I got this video done early. It's 2:00. Yes. That means I still got 6.5 more hours for Sherry. Sundays are so jam-packed for me. I have time when church is over. It's like deuces. I'm out. I got so much stuff to get done before 8:30. And I don't want to continue living in that fast-paced rush era, right? We done talked about that. So I am working on reconstructing my life. Okay? And you guys should consider that too, because it's so peaceful. It is so peaceful. When I look back, I'm like, oh, I did all this in an hour and a half. And normally if I would have came home, been in front of the TV, I probably wouldn't have got half the stuff done that I got done already. So just a little tidbit for you guys. All right. Again, this is your girl, Sherry. You go out and have an amazing day on purpose. All right. Deuces.